What's up, Ramblers? I know you want to get into today's podcast, but real quick, make sure you're keeping up by following Assistance HQ and Offsource HQ across all platforms, anywhere on all social medias, to keep up with all of the latest content, updates, exclusive, and everything else. And for business owners, visit offsource.tech for all of your office outsourcing needs, a virtual assistant for every occasion. All the links are in the bio, so go check them out right now. Now, here's your podcast. Before we begin, a moment from our sponsor. Good morning, podcast. Welcome back to another wonderful episode of The Ramblings. I'm your host, Angela Roberts, and we have a Financial Friday in tune for you today. So something I'm actually doing is I'm going to be doing Finance Fridays, which is a live segment I do on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, going to be coming to like YouTube and everything else soon. But it's just like a live segment I do that has to do with finances. And so Mondays, I'm going to be doing something called Money Mondays. And so that's going to be between like management, mindset, and a whole bunch of other things surrounding the fact of money. And so today, I just thought I would give you guys my top number one basic tips for managing your money, because today's Friday and Fridays are usually known as like the paydays. And so one of the big things I kind of wanted to discuss, or at least talk about and start to talk about, was the fact or the phenomena of how we are able to be paid on Friday, blow an ungodly portion of that money on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then somehow stretch whatever we have left over throughout the rest of the week till that next Friday. And so that is what we in the financial world call living paycheck to paycheck, or running the rat race, if you will. And so the only way to stop living paycheck to paycheck or running and continue running in the rat race is to exit that particular thing, or stop doing that run or sprint. So the very easiest way in short terms is to just say, hey, listen, cut out that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday spending, and then you can just make whatever you would have last during that week and then move forward. So if we cut down the money spent on a weekend, we would be able to much greatly save from the next paycheck going forward. Because a lot of us, where it feels like it's a little bit of money, where it's like, okay, your check was only but so much and you only have $50 left to kind of like for yourself. Like, you have money that you can kind of save, but you need that to last you the rest of the week. And you have this $50 that you could have, right? And you're like, oh, it's only $50. It's a weekend. I'm going to have another $50 next weekend, and I still have this to get me through the entire week. But that's where we were talking about on the live this morning. It's about mindset. And why mindset is important is because that $50, while it is going to be used for you to immediately and temporarily have fun, that $50 in the long run, in the compilation of other $50, especially over the course of a certain amount of time, because you're not going out, you have much more time to not only think, to be more productive, to think of ways to get more money. There's just so many different things. And so I've decided to touch on this small issue within our community, because it is something that hinders a lot of us. And for the purpose of it, I'm just going to call it the weekend effect. And the weekend effect is when you get paid on Friday and your brain instantly says, as soon as you get your check, with the understanding that I have to put up money for bills, I need to be able to get through the week, I have stuff I have to get done, the very first thing that goes through your mind when you get your check is, what am I going to spend my money on? What am I going to buy? What nice food am I going to eat? I think I want pizza. I think I want a seafood broil. Like, there are so many different things that goes through our mind when we get that check, and none of them are, how can I make this either last me longer, or how can I make this make me more money? So here, I guess, are my top five basic. Now, mind you, I just say top five basic because there are so many different tips. There are so many other tips. There are so many different solutions for everyone's specific problem. And so to say that these are the concrete five would be almost a lot. And so I just give you my concrete 5 for basics, not even intermediate or advanced, but just 5 simple basic principles of managing or dealing with and having a money mindset and making sure that you're able to get out of the rat race. The first step has to do with mindset. And so, step 1 in mindset is correct mindset. Before you do anything, you have to properly prepare yourself for the mindset. Properly prepare yourself in terms of mindset doesn't mean, oh, I know that this is going to be a hard path. No, this is understanding that you're going to need discipline. That's a mental mindset of discipline, because you're not going to be able to go out with your friends. You can go out and do things, but just not in terms of money. So for a lot of you, some of you feel like you can't go out and not spend money when you're with your friends. You can't just go out and enjoy being out. So for some of you, it's going to mean saying no to hanging out with your friends or going to the club, going out to the bar. And so during coronavirus, it's much harder to pinpoint that because a lot of clubs and bars are shut down and everything. However, in Connecticut, bars and everything and some clubs have been reopened back up. So to make it more general, it's going to require you to say no to hanging out with your friends on the weekend because you're just kind of hanging out, getting bottles and smoking. It's going to require you to have the mindset of this will work, not this can work. This is something that may work. No, this will work. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have losses. You're going to have times where you're like, dang, this isn't really working. But when you stick at it, it works. So mindset is very important, especially as like a number 1 step before you move into a financial growth. Like before you grow financially, you have to look within and see where your problems are, because here's where what people don't look at, especially when it comes to mindset, right? It works. Which is like the biggest, craziest thing for people. It actually works. Like you hustle, you get disciplined, you get everything down, and you actually start seeing your bank account increase, and you start noticing that you have more money left over when you get another paycheck. And so something happens in your brain, some type of where it's like, oh, I am doing good. Your body starts to go into a relaxation mode to where you don't feel like you have to grind as hard. And when you feel your body going into relaxation mode where you feel like you don't have to grind as hard, that is the exact moment that you say, I am going to go dumb harder. Because as soon as you feel like, oh, I have a small cushion, I can go out this week, that's the minute that you're like, oh, I'm gonna go out next week too. And then an emergency happens. So patience. The moment you feel yourself starting to relax on the hustle and on the grind is the moment that you say, I have to go full throttle and go even further. Rule number 2, understand the concept of money. Learn the concept of money. Money goes one way. That way. Now you can't see me. It doesn't matter. You can't see me. Money literally only flows one way. Into out, into out, into out. Doesn't matter where, how it flows, how it streams, how it winds, twists, and turns. Money only goes one way. In and out. That's it. That's one direction. It goes in and out. It can't come from the out and then come in. It only can come in and then go out. It can't go out if it hasn't come in, and it can't come in if nothing's going out. That's what they say when money makes more money. I had to be careful because I wanted to make sure I knew what I was going to say. So the next thing is step 2. After we have mindset of money, you're going to want to understand the concept, the flow, the rules of money. Those are going to be things like understanding your taxes, understanding your personal break-even point, understanding your personal goals, understanding how your job and your benefits work, understanding how much money you're probably going to need to retire. You're going to have to understand how your time only can do but so much. You are like, if you were to focus on making money based on your time, you are limited to 24 hours of working in a particular period. in any particular 1 day period, you are limited to a 24 hour. If you worked 24 hours straight, you would cap out at that 24-hour mark of how much you can make. However, when you understand money and learn the concept of money, when you put your money to work for you, your money can do things and almost infinitely exponentially multiply itself in a 24-hour period, much more than you can, because money isn't constrained to the same time that we are. Money isn't constrained to the same location, to the same playing field that we are. Money has the ability to go from here to California in less than 30 minutes. Money has the ability to go from your computer to multiple people's computers in a snap of a second. So money can move at a speed. Money can move in forms and ways and transportations that you cannot. So you have to learn how to make your money work for you. And so when you couple working your money for you and making money on your time, you have essentially increased multifold. I can't say what, because it depends on how well the money works for you. Because whatever you do for yourself is one, whatever you do, anything else is multiple. So when your money works for you, it can be an almost infinite amount of ways that it can work for you. So when you couple that with your own personal time of work, you have multifolded your revenue or your income that you're bringing in, which is why the concept of money is important. The idea of how money flows and how you can best utilize money is important. Number 3, patience. I understand we already talked about mindset, but patience is something completely different. Patience can be applied to everything. You can't apply the mindset of money to everything. However, you can apply patience to everything. And normally I would put patience last on the list. But the reason I'm putting it third on today's list is because patience is some example. Perfect. The reason that we didn't do it is because, one, I couldn't wait. I needed you guys to know how important patience was. It's because we've already talked about mindset and we've already talked about the idea or understanding money, right? So we have the mental preparation, and then we have the knowledge, right? And so why I'm saying patience comes next is because you're going to have to wait. This is not an overnight thing. You don't just save $50 this week and then all of a sudden next week you have $100, $1,000, $2,000 saved. No, this is a time constraining thing. This takes a lot of time. This consumes a lot of time. And so you have to be able to be patient with it. As I said, you're going to be like the mindset of there's going to be times where you mess up and you have to get set back, where you were saving up a good amount of money and you had $1,000 and something happened and now you only have $200. That's where patience kicks in, because you have to build back up and then keep moving forward. But you have to be patient. Patience is a virtue, and it's something that a lot of us, when I say us, I mean young people, very, very much put to the wayside. So patience, that's why I put patience third. The next thing is like one of my favorite words. You guys know I've been saying this since the beginning of the year. Consistency. Number 4, for the basic money management skills for bettering your financial position. Number 4, consistency. And I am not going to talk forever about consistency. The reason being is because I've already talked enough about consistency in every single one of my podcasts. And if you would like to hear about it, go check all of the other podcasts about the consistency. However, the reason that we're bringing up consistency is because it has to happen every single time. You can't just say, I'm going to save the $50 this week and not save it next week and then save it the week after and then be on and off. No, this has to happen every single time without fail. Why? Because if you can make sure that you are spending your money on a regular basis every single time without fail, if you can make sure that you are going to spend that $50 every single time without fail, then you must make sure that if you want to change your habit and move in the opposite direction, you must be consistent. Think of it like this. Where you are is a result of your past experiences and decisions. So if you are in a bad situation and you have bad habits, it was the consistency of doing these bad habits and bad things that put you in the position, not doing it one time, doing it multiple times consistently over the course of a long period of time. And so if you want to get back to zero, just breaking the habit, not even talking about replacing it or doing something else, getting back to zero, you then have to do the exact same thing in reverse. And so how do you do the exact same thing in reverse? You have to work consistently over a long period of time doing the opposite of what you did to get you somewhere. So if you were consistently spending your money on things that did not needed to be spent on over a long period of time, then what you need to do is over a long period of time, not spend money on things that you shouldn't be spending money on. And it's simple like that. Consistency is key. Number 5, hustle. All of these things are actionable, and all of these things are just up there. So it's like, oh, you have given me 5 things and I don't really feel like they were valuable enough. Well, I'll ask you this. What are you doing right now listening to my podcast? Are you working? Are you lollygagging? You watching TV? You just listening to it just to listen to it? Why are you listening to this podcast? What are you doing while you are listening to this podcast? Are you hustling? Think about that. That's why these are my 5 basic money management, financial improvement bullet points, key points, if you will. Those are the 5. Why? Because 1, you have to be mentally prepared. 2, you have to have knowledge. You have to understand. 3, you're gonna have to be patient. It takes time. 4, you're gonna have to be consistent. Do this every single day. 5, you're gonna have to hustle. You're gonna have to do this. Like, you have to actually then go out, find what you love, and work. Go out and do the hustle. Before you go, Ramblers, if you enjoyed today's podcast, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and make sure you're following me across all platforms at Assistance HQ. Catch up on exclusive content and keep track of everything going on at OffSource. See you in October.